say to me?
Let me go. And she's starting to kind of slowly inch away from you, just to try and get out of reach of you.
Okay.
So she was able to, not necessarily for a long time, like she couldn't necessarily just drop in unannounced, but maybe like she could just get some sustained flight for long enough to get over top of the wall or something like that. So I picture there being some pretty nasty destruction within the compound kind of thing. Like there's just buildings that are ripped apart. There's trucks that are thrown around. There's bodies hanging from guard towers and bullet holes just lining the walls of the buildings and of the walls of the compound itself.
Yeah, she landed on like one of the guard towers and just like completely destroyed it, and then like got down to the inner facility from that vantage point, and just like, yeah, it's just like a trail of carnage and destruction. Mm-hmm. Holy smokes. And Jeffrey, what do you want to add to the scene? How is it that you overcome the obstacles, like the fences and the guards?
Well, I think I'm absolutely furious that with myself that I had to let this crazy woman go. So I'm like barely in control of my own actions. I am just tearing things apart. I get the sense I'm tearing posts out of the ground and then like,
yeah, chain link fence, electric chain link fence.
Yeah, and I'm going full unstoppable here, and weirdly, I don't think. I think by now a lot of the guards are like, they're mostly aware of the Anarch as like the main problem, and like there's enough destruction in her wake that we're not given too much trouble as we're getting out in terms of like guards trying to stop us.
So they are expecting her to come back out, and so the ones that survived the initial incursion are trying to regroup. And so when it's you two that emerge, it's not that they're not ready for something, it's that they're confused that it's not this exoskeleton monster, right? And they've been communicating with the inside, and there's a bunch of misinformation, and there's pot shots that are fired in your direction, but they're kind of hesitant because they aren't sure if you're the supers that they should be firing on, but they think they should be firing, but they don't want to hit somebody they're not supposed. Anyway, it's like one of those like deferring to the authority of somebody else kind of situations. So they're in the confusion. You manage to escape without getting hit, at least even once. Oh man.
Yeah.
Let's make it out into the night. It is definitely late. Do you want to have one last scene where you have a conversation with each other, and then we'll call it a night?
Yeah.
Where do you find
right.
Why?
I don't know, maybe like one of those farmers fields on the edge of town.
Like out in the fields?
I once we get enough of a distance from the prison, I sink to my knees and give a primal cry of rage, just shredding the sky apart with a roar of frustration.
I kind of like it. Like you galloped for some time to get away before succumbing to this. So like in the distance, we see like a little farm house, and there's a barn not far from it. And then we see you, the silhouette of Monstrosity at the top of the hill, just on his knees. And we can see like the roar up in the at the top, crossing the panels. Vixen, you've managed to keep up with him.
Yeah, it's like an internal thought bubble. I wish I knew what I could say. It's not always easy to decide what to do. And a lot of times you're never sure if you're right. We didn't lose. We didn't win, but we didn't lose. But at least next time we see Anarch again, we know we're not alone. To say that last part, like, can I roll comfort?
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say that is definitely what we're doing.
Plus mundane, I got an 11.
So, the monstrosity gets to mark potential, clear a condition, or shift labels if he opens up. Do you open up to her?
I do, yeah.
What does that look like?
I look up at her and I show that I actually have tears in my eyes, and I tell her, I don't even know where I'm going home to now. I don't even know what I did this for. I don't know what to do next. I don't even know who I can be in the world around me.
I'm gonna offer that he can come hang out in my den, my little bat cave.
Someone else's basement, anyway.
Yeah, someone else's basement.
It's like, it's okay, out of place.
Yeah, you're never just monstrosity.
Good. I love it. So we kind of fade about the last panel is like maybe Vixen's hands like on the monstrosity's shoulder, and we see them silhouetted on a starry night sky out in the middle of a field somewhere. And then the last panel of the comic, it just shows some like steepled fingers like this in a shadowy room that with a computer screen in front of them. The computer screen shows it shows like 4 different images. It shows the monstrosity confronting the Anarch. It shows another camera where it shows Vixen defusing the bomb. It shows another panel where there's like 2 supervillains that we haven't seen on camera yet in their cell. It's like a split screen kind of a thing. And then it shows another one of the running figure of the Anarch. And the steepled fingers say in a speech bubble, well, that was disappointing. To be continued. Because comic books just make you buy more. Yeah.
Colin.
We can't promise that there would be more than one edition of this, but
Yeah.
There would totally be to be continued, even if there was never a second issue.
Oh yeah.
All right. Because this is a one shot, I'm willing to tip my hand. Is there anything that you wanted to know?
Yeah, what was the deal with all the legal crap that we were investigating there?
Yeah, so there was another supervillain behind the Anarch, who's called the Lawman, and he's the one with the steepled fingers. But he's like a kingpin type character. Really got his hands in organized crime, and his big plan was to consolidate his power by mobilizing a few supers who had been incarcerated. In order to do that, he kind of made a deal with the Russian mob, who had control of the prisons inside there and had the things that they needed in order to get the Anarch to do this break-in kind of a thing. What the mob didn't know is that the lawman that was behind the Anarch, they never met the lawman, but the Anarch was going to betray the mob because she was loyal to the lawman.
Cool. All right.
But yeah, the Russian mob had a whole bunch of and the lawman. So it's hard to distinguish between them because he was kind of pulling the strings for them, but they had a lot of legal protections for their operation, and the lawman had people and positions of power that really belonged to him. I mentioned one senator that had kind of it never was proved that he had been corrupted, but kind of implicitly it had happened. Right?
Cool. Yeah, that's dope.
It was
Just so much.
definitely like a bigger scheme than the Anarch. We only got 2 steps along the big plan. This was step 2, was trying to break these guys out. And actually, yeah, the step 1 was like buying them some time by kidnapping the governor. Step 2 was to break these superheroes out, a couple of superheroes out of this prison. And you interfered with both of those, and so you really screwed with the lawman's plans. So you've totally changed the situation. So if we were going to continue playing, I would have to completely change my plan, which is awesome because
Yeah.
So had you thought up the lawman and the anarch and their hierarchy before we started anything?
No, I thought it up kind of after we had our discussion about the governor. So I used your character backstories to kind of start bouncing my own ideas off of them.
Cool.
It's like, why would they want to kidnap the governor? And it's like, well, it has something to do with the prisons because he's interested in prison reform. It's like, well, why would they be interested in that? Why would they want to oppose prison reform? And it's just like kind of snowballed from there.
Cool.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. A lot of what you encountered was just me reflecting your own ideas and your own contributions to the game, like Crime Alley being a major feature. This totally comes from Jeff, and all of the legal side of things, like getting clues from like your mundane life, that totally came from the things that you were feeding to me. So that's one of the things I love about this game. Is like I did so little prep work. A lot of it is just like improvised based on what you guys decide to do and how the roles go. So
pretty cool. Yeah. I really enjoyed it.
Did you have a lot of
great time? Yeah, for sure.
Good. Yeah, and I know we had a few hiccups with the rules at the beginning, but I hope that they got smoothed out and that you enjoyed your characters.
Yeah, this last was nice, smooth. We both knew what we were doing. We both knew like how to play for the most part, and yeah.
So, do you want to know about the nuclear weapon?
Yeah, what the heck?
Okay, so that was not in the plans. I had no idea that was going to happen. But one of the moves that a villain does, like whenever a villain gets hurt and takes a condition, then they automatically do a move. And the one for angry was escalate the situation dangerously. And I was like, okay, we want to escalate this situation. We want to make it really, really bad. But we're in this like super fortified, super secure facility. What would be something that would guaranteed be really bad for this thing?
A nuke. Not wrong.
We're dealing with a terrorist here, clearly.
Yeah, totally. And I love that.
By the way, I don't think it would have actually been a nuke, but clearly
it was
just
like a huge bomb.
Yeah, designed to, like, it was meant to be a scary thing. But I don't know what would have actually happened. Fortunately, I didn't have to find out because you played it pretty well.
Oh man, yeah, we got some really good rolls at some really crucial times.
Yeah. And had we been playing with the original game was like, instead of being able to give a +1 to 3 skills, you give a +1 to 1 skill. And if we'd been playing that version, typically you fail rolls a lot more often. And it's like, I would not have thrown a nuke in there in that situation. But
yeah.
I think having it being that serious, it led to a lot of tension in the scene. So
yeah, that's fair. Sweet.
Let's just no. And you saved Halcyon City.
Yeah. Again.
They're still hunting for you.
I just like I don't know how Renee Pierce would mop up that mess with her secret identity afterwards. That's a big hot mess.
Well, going in there with your real life persona is pretty risky. So yeah, the problem is the witnesses. You did things off camera, but you have witnesses, right? So you could just like kill all the witnesses, but that doesn't sound like the flavor of your character.
No, not so much. And I was thinking it's probably even riskier to try to get inside this maximum security prison after we've supplied an anonymous tip that there's going to be a break-in that day in a costume dressed as a super with no powers. I'm like, that's stupid. That's like that kind of went through my mind, and I was just like, oh no, I'll stuff the crap out of it. And I was like, yeah, that's not
I'll be honest, like a maximum security prison for super powered individuals, I think I went pretty easy on you. But the way I kind of rationalize it is like, you're not actually in the maximum security part. You were in like the detention cell where they hold somebody who's been, like the charges are pending kind of a thing, right? And so you hadn't actually penetrated into the heart of it where the real security was. But you did manage to interpose yourself between the Anarch and her goal. So I think in the end it's successful, but there's some definitely some collateral damage.
Like my life.
Yeah. I think one thing I might do is I might just share some information with you either via a video or whatnot about like the clocks. I had some countdown clocks. And again, I take that from another version of Apocalypse World, but I took some countdown clocks. And so, for example, Jeffrey's character with his relationship with his wife was slowly deteriorating over time. And that was by design. And it only happened when his wife became aware of his activities. But he asked her for a favor. And it was just like, boom, that bumps him up a clock. And comes home early in the morning, and boom, that moves it, right? And same thing with Vixen's, Renee's real life. Like her friend was like telling her she's being weird about this guy, like interviewing him, right? And that was because she had failed the role. So boom, it moves up the clock and that kind of thing. So for the Janice, like your mundane life is built into the character, and so you have this role, and you rolled really well, so you didn't really have to deal with that too much. It's not built into the transformed character, right? And so it's just like whenever there's some pressure on your mundane life, it kind of steps up the clock. So, yeah, and eventually that you would have ended up living in Crime Alley or something. I don't know. But I guess Vixen will put you up. That's nice.
I'll put you up. I have a den for people like you. No, I'm just kidding.
What do you mean, people?
What do you mean? What do you mean, you people? Yeah, no, thanks. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was super.
And I really, really enjoyed playing with you guys. You brought a lot to the table. And I appreciate how whenever I threw something at you, you kind of bounced it back at me. So it made a lot of really interesting for me because this story unfolded for me too, just as it was for you.
Organically. Yeah, it was cool. I'm going to go to bed though.
Yeah, it's about time.
Yeah.
So good night. Thanks for sticking it out, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah.
Lots of love.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.